It's time to talk LSU baseball with Mike Scarborough and Kendall Rogers of D1Baseball. This is Batter Up.
All right, Kendall. Another Batter Up report. Kendall Rogers, D1Baseball, and I kind of feel like a lot of these reports are starting to sound the same. Is LSU baseball going to get off the snide? Can they get better each week? It's a broken record. Now they head to Knoxville. Things aren't going to get any easier. I laugh because Tuesday night's game with McNeese, I get a call from Kenny. Of course, Kenny Haines sponsors these reports each and every week. Just could not believe the lineup in the batting order for that game. And what happens? He was complaining about what the heck is he doing putting Bear Jones in the leadoff spot. He ends up having a 3 home run night against McNeese.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, you gotta try something, right? I mean, I was just kind of getting myself up to date on just LSU's conference numbers because, I've watched their games, but I haven't really dug into the conference numbers. But, I mean, this is a team, Mike, that Michael Braswell is their leading hitter from an average standpoint in conference, and it's not even close. It's by like 50 points. And so, no disrespect to Braswell, but when that's your leading hitter in conference play, that's a problem because, like, he was supposed to be an accessory piece for this team. So I think as you move ahead, it's a little odd to have Barry Jones in that role, but I mean, he's a guy that can get in the gap. He can hit for power. Ultimately, I mean, what it boils down to down the stretch is, can they get a guy like Paxton Clean to kind of finally take that step forward? If they can't, I think it's going to be, it's going to be running through mud the rest of the way. I think if they can, and then get some of these other guys rolling, Josh Pearson's a guy who's come up big in the past for LSU, obviously not having a very good year in conference. He and Travinsky hitting around 250, 260 in conference. Mike Bingham hitting around 260 in conference. So a lot of these guys, it's not that they've had no production. It's just they need to be more consistent production. And I'll tell you what, if they don't show up this weekend, it's going to get ugly because there is not a program in college baseball that would love to, quote unquote, put LSU in its grave, quite like Tony Vitello in Tennessee. They would love nothing more, especially coming off a national championship weekend. But I think LSU plays well this weekend. I'm not saying they're winning the series, but I actually think they play well.
Let me ask you, is this just a team full of newcomers and youth that are in these games? And particularly, look, we know what's happened on the Sundays or the third game of these series. It's not pretty. But in the other games, and Coach Johnson's laid it out, is part of this a matter of these guys not knowing how to win and finish off games? And then, and of course, is it too late for this year? Probably so. But is that going to be something that you're looking at next year where maybe your personnel is kind of similar, but the difference is maybe towards the end of this year, these guys figure it out and maybe the team isn't as bad as they look, or maybe they're just could be better. It's just going to take time.
Yeah, I'm not giving up on this team. Do I think they can win another national championship this year? Probably not. Do I think they can get to the postseason and actually make some noise? Yeah, I think the talent is there. The personnel is there. I think the number one thing for me is that they need a big weekend. I think anybody that watches this team right now can see that the hamster wheel's spinning. It's like a football team that's down 21-0 in the first quarter. Like, you can just see in their heads, right, whenever they get down that, oh, here we go again. And that's kind of what's happening in those run roll games. So, you get a big weekend in Knoxville. I think the dynamic of this team changes a little bit. I think the belief in this team changes a little bit. But, I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, when you look at this lineup overall, like, there's no reason why this lineup down the stretch should not be hitting. Paxton Kling had a couple of hits the other night. Very curious if he can kind of carry that over into the weekend. You talked about Barry Jones and 6 RBIs. Jake Brown. I mean, he was a guy that you and I talked like just nonstop about. Obviously, injuries have played a role in Jake's lack of impact. But he's a guy that had a couple of RBIs the other night. The Brady Neals, the Malazzos of the world, and guys like that. We know they're certainly capable. Mike Bingham. The list goes on. The point is, it's not like this lineup is full of guys that you're like, yeah, I just don't see that guy ever coming around. It's full of a lineup of guys that go, you know what? If they can get a little run in them, like, they could be pretty good down the stretch. So I'm not out on this team yet. I think there's still a run in them. The question is there a big enough run to A, make the postseason because your time's kind of running out, and B, can they actually get past a regional? I think you got to temper your expectations. I think this team at this stage, just getting to a regional, I think is a success. I know LSU
Well,
doesn't hear that, but it is.
Well, and that's just it. If they win every SEC series 2-1 the rest of the way, they'll finish 15-15. I mean, so when you start talking about,
you know what's crazy is if they finish 15-15 and went on a run in Hoover, they could actually host. So that, I guess my point is, there's still a lot of scenarios out there. The problem, and just kind of looking at their schedule, the problem is when you look at the remaining series. So let's go through this. I did this the other day. Well, let's go through the remaining series real quick, not to make this too long. So you got Tennessee. I think if you can get one this weekend, I think you're happy. Missouri, I get it. Like they swept Florida, but they're going to win 2 out of 3 at Missouri. Auburn, I actually think they'll win that 2 out of 3 at home. That would put you at 4. That'd be Tennessee would be 4-11. That would be 6-12. That would be 8-13. You get A&M. I think they'll play well in that series. I think they'll lose it 2 out of 3, and I think they'll win Ole Miss, and maybe I think Alabama has a toss up. Let's just give that a loss. That would put LSU at what 10, 9, 11. That put them about 12 or 13 wins going into Hoover, which gets them in the tournament. So that's I mean, to me, that's like the worst case scenario at this point, based on what I think at the base level.
Well, look, I know your job and you've got a staff. I don't know how often you watch actual post-game press conferences, but I've never seen Jay the way I saw him Saturday night. After that series, and I tend to think he's the type of guy that if he's already the guy during the season that doesn't get home till 2 a.m, he's probably not coming home at all now.
He's sleeping on that couch in the office right now. I can tell you that.
Yeah, and he's just running himself ragged, is my guess. Just what my instinct on him.
That would probably be accurate.
And so I wonder if that's a way to dig yourself out, or is that a way to spin your wheels even further?
Yeah,
I think we're going to find out. But he looked a little bit happier Tuesday night post game, but Saturday I've never seen him like that before. And so it's this team I think has him miffed a bit, and of course we laughed last week about him taking cell phones away and all that.
What was that? What did he say about that?
Well, no, he didn't laugh about it, but it's it just shows you that he's looking for anything to get to his team and figure this thing out. But I wonder, you can get to the point too where you work so hard and you look at it. Sometimes it might just be better to step back and see where it goes.
Yeah, no doubt. By the way, I was just looking. The SEC put out the projected starters this weekend. Did he kind of dive into why he's starting Gage Jump in the series opener?
No, we were supposed to get him yesterday, but because of bad weather.
Oh, okay. That's an interesting move.
Our presser with him was canceled yesterday.
Oh, okay. So yeah, Gage Jump is pitching the opener. So that's really interesting. It's almost like he's going to the weekend knowing he needs to win one by putting Luke Holman on the Saturday game.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I wonder where they got that from. Is that something that he's got to give them?
The rotation?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the SEC sends that out every Thursday afternoon. You can email Ben Beatty, he'll hook you up. But yeah, they send that out every Thursday afternoon. That's the teams have to announce the rotation.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting.
Kenny's got a question.
Although Tennessee's listed at TBA for the series opener, so I'm guessing that'll be AJ Causey, but that makes me wonder if Causey might be banged up.
Should Coach Johnson consider getting younger guys ready for next year now that this season is all but in the books? That's from Kenny.
I mean, hey, Kenny has been around LSU baseball long enough to know that the season is never in the books in Baton Rouge on April 11th. I mean, are things going bad right now? Sure. But I mean, they've got plenty of younger guys that are being thrown in the fire right now already. So, no, I think at this point, like this season's still out there. I have seen. I go back to this not comparison, but I go back to this example. And granted, it was a very long time ago. The landscape of college baseball is different. It's more competitive. It's tougher. But I go back to 2005. I'm going way back here. Or was it? No, it was 2004. I'm sorry. In 2004, Cal State Fullerton had a losing record going into April. They won the national championship with a series win over Texas. So probable that LSU can go on a run and get to Omaha and win the whole thing again? Probably not. But it's happened before in a lot worse circumstances.
All right. Well, keep talking about Kenny. He sponsors these reports each and every week. Let's hear from him.
Kenny Haines is a proud 1989 graduate of LSU Law School with a passion for justice. Kenny stands out as the only lawyer in the state, board certified in both appellate practice and family law. Drawing from 34 years of trial experience, Kenny has navigated the most complex aspects of real people's lives. If you need help in Northwest Louisiana with a family issue, legal issue, or a highly skilled trial attorney, call Kenny 318-222-2100. And speaking of winning, Kenny would like to recognize our 2023 national champions and congratulate coaches Kim Mulkey and Jay Johnson. Go Tigers!
Kendall, is Holman start the lone opportunity for LSU, you think, to win one in Knoxville?
No, not at all, actually. I mean, here's the thing. I mean, if you look at Tennessee's pitching, it hasn't been phenomenal. And Xander Secrets can certainly be hit. He's got an ERA well over 3. But, I mean, all three of those guys, with the exception of Beam, I do think Beam threw really – I saw him pitch last week, and he threw really, really well. So I do believe in him in the home. But other than that, man, they can be hit. And here's the other thing about Lindsey Nelson in Knoxville is it's one of those ballparks that, like, if you're down in your luck and you're a little bit down, it is a ballpark that can be the ultimate equalizer because – I mean, you can get a ball up in the outfield there and get in that jet stream, and that thing flies out of it like crazy. So if there is a ballpark where a team that just is looking for something to go right would enjoy going to, it would be Tennessee. But it's going to be a rowdy atmosphere. I mean, their fans still view these guys as the national champs and that juggernaut, and so it's going to be a tough weekend. But again, I think they're going to play well. Do I think they're going to win 2 out of 3? No, but it's just I guess. Maybe I just have false hope here, but like I just feel like at some point they're going to break through. We're all going to be like, oh, there it is, you know.
You heading anywhere this weekend, or you?
Yes, I'm gonna go watch at least one of Vandy A&M. I actually watched. It's a top 5 or top 6 matchup this weekend. I watched a couple of the games against LSU last week. Really interesting, you know, Braden Holcomb for Vandy, the big bopper that had 2 bombs in one game. I don't think he even played the weekend that I saw Vandy. So I'm kind of curious to see him. Then, you know, seeing Bryce Cunningham and Carter Holton. Holton threw really well against the Tigers last weekend. See him go against that A&M lineup this weekend. It'll be really interesting. I saw him at Minute Maid earlier this year, and he was really good then. Only saw about 3 innings of his start, but I'll see his full start this weekend. So, as usual, it's another just outrageously big weekend in the SEC.
All right. Well, Kendall, tell them how they can subscribe to D1 Baseball and any specials that you got going on. And, of course, they need to go to your YouTube channel. I keep saying that each and every week. I'll watch multiple of those episodes with Healy and the little weekend deals that he does every Saturday and Sunday along the way. There's a lot of good content on that YouTube channel that if you're a college baseball fan or an LSU baseball fan, that folks need to tune into.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, just D1Baseball.com, man, 24 season. It'll still get you 24% off any subscriptions. The good thing for LSU fans is I hope I'm writing a lot better things about you starting this weekend. The other good news for LSU fans is if things continue down this path, I'll have a lot of transfer portal scoop for you. So it's a win-win.
Yeah. Yeah, and you could see where what was it? I guess about a week and a half ago, where you could see some of that irritation was coming, and him not being too happy with what he was getting out of some of his guys. But
I'll tell you what, Mike, you go back to the Hattiesburg Regional a couple years ago when they lost in the final game. And you remember how mad Jay was after that when they lost a regional final? Imagine what he's going to be like this year if this continues.
When he had 0 left-handers. He had 0 left-handers. And he basically said it'll never be like this again. And he got to work in the portal. All right, man. Another good one, and we'll talk
You
next
got it,
week.
brother. Be good, man.
Okay, bud. Thanks.
See ya.